A lot of the people who have been hurt by this flood are, frankly, still in shock. They have not really come, they're still trying to come to grips with what's happened to them. And I received a note from a young lady from this community whose middle name is Valentine because she was born on Valentine's Day, and she asked me to come by and have a piece of cake at her house. And the mayor said we were too busy. I'm going to blame it on him. Grieving over the loss of family pictures and, you know, things that seem small until you lose them and then they become big. And I met a couple on the street that told me they'd been married 64 years this year. And I could tell they were just trying to come to grips with this. But I just ask you all to be sensitive to this. You know, sometimes when the floodwaters go down and there's nothing for a neighbor to do that's real visible, like stack the sandbags up, we forget that there's going to be a lot of scars inside. A lot of these folks are going to be hurt for a very long time. They're going to have to try to come to grips with it, and all of us from the federal government on down need to be very sensitive to this. There's a lot of tough things that people are going to have to deal with. The churches will have to help, everybody will, but sometimes I think we forget that in the moment, you know. A lot of times it comes up a week or so later, sometimes 2 weeks later when it's really difficult.
It is a 𝚉-46C night, something we're not used to seeing the president fly in. The reason he has chosen this type of helicopter today, take a look at that door on the front with a big hole in it. That is a giant portal where the president can actually sit in a seat up there. He buckles himself into what's called a gunner's belt, and from that position he's able to look out of the window and survey the damage. Certainly a better view of the area than the other vehicle, the other helicopter that we're used to seeing the president fly in, the 𝚕𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗. That one is here also today, but for all practical purposes, this gray Marine helicopter is Marine One today. I have just seen the president's motorcade arrive here on the west end of the Woodland High School athletic grounds.
The outpouring from this community and surrounding communities has been amazing. We had more phone calls in this command center from people in our community and other communities asking us, what can we do to help, than we had asking for help.
And we saw those pictures, Brent, of the president shaking hands with people. It has to be something of a welcome respite for him too, from so many of the official functions that he has to attend. Where you've got the barricades, you've got people being kept at such an extreme distance because of security reasons. There we saw it look as if to shake hands with the president, and then they'll go right back in and get back to the task at hand. President Clinton, in his plaid shirt as he's greeting people, does seem very relaxed, very willing to reach out and certainly give them assurances that the federal government is doing everything it can to give them speedy access to federal funds. Make no mistake, this is a president from small-town America.
He said that man ran a jackhammer for 8 hours with a cracked rib. And I think that's sort of symbolic of what this community has done in the last few days. And I just wanted to say the whole country has been touched by the pictures we've seen, moved by the losses that you've endured, but also moved by the way that you have rallied in this crisis. And I thank you very much for what you have done. I understand that you evacuated 1,000 people in 40 minutes. If that's true, you could probably become police chief of Washington, D.C. with us. But I would like to just, and both your elected officials and the citizens that are here, one of the things that we have really worked hard on since I've been president is trying to help make sure the federal government did its part whenever there's a natural disaster. When I appointed James Lee Witt to head FEMA, he had headed the emergency management agency of our home state of Arkansas for several years before that. And we had been inundated with floods. We have the highest per capita rate of tornadoes in America. We have picked up after every known disaster. We just want to do everything we legally can as quickly as we can to be helpful, and that's what I want to hear about today. Where are you now? How are we going to rebuild?
In Woodland, the tour of neighborhoods, he has been right on schedule this morning and now into this afternoon. Certainly you can get the feeling as you look at these pictures. He tries to get into one of the vehicles and then he's back out waving. The folks in Woodland, this is certainly a once-in-a-lifetime chance for many of them to get a chance to see the president. They don't want to let him go. We've talked about the down-home feeling, the feeling of community, of reaching out to one another. Now the community reaching out to the president as he embraces them, telling them that the entire nation has been touched by the pictures of flooding that they've seen from Woodland. They don't want to let this man go.
The president going around shaking some hands, even signing autographs. It seems as if the president, certainly with a lot on his mind in so many different areas, the battle of the budget, the problems in Bosnia. This has to be, somewhat comforting for him to get back into an area where he knows that he can make an immediate impact by pledging that money. They're glad to see him, and I think the president certainly seems genuinely pleased to be able to talk to these folks.
Shakes hands over here.
Yes. Sure looks like he's been drinking a few beers.
Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
Let me say, first of all, a word of thanks to Mayor Graham for giving me a good tour this morning. I'm here with your two senators, Senator Murray and Senator Gordon, and of course with Governor Lawry and Congresswoman Smith. And we have also Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon with us. And James Lee Witt, the director of FEMA, and my chief of staff, Mr. Panetta, and I came in this morning and we flew over the flooded area. And we've been walking down the streets talking to some of the folks. I was on the other side of the street where the houses were built higher, and they now have lakefront property. That's what the 𝚕𝚘𝚘𝚍 told me. And of course, I was with Doug and Delois Youngnickel down there in their home, and I saw how much they've lost. Let me say to all of you, I know there's nothing that anyone, including the president, can say that will make these losses go away. I can tell you that in my life, in my former life when I was a governor, I have been in whole communities that were wiped out by floods. I've been in whole communities that were torn apart by tornadoes. And I have been very impressed with what the people here have done. The way you rallied together, the way you worked to help save as much as you could, the work the Corps of Engineers has done to try to get the water down as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And I want to begin just by thanking all of you who worked hard to minimize the damage of this flood. When I leave here, we're going to a kind of a roundtable discussion, and we'll talk about what the federal government can do to try to help you rebuild. The only thing I can do to you is to pledge to you that I will do everything I can to see that we move as quickly as possible, do as much as we can, everything we're allowed to do within the law to help you rebuild and to go on with your lives. I can see just from talking to the mayor, he told me he lived here all of his life. This is a wonderful community with good, strong families and good, strong values, and I love seeing the children at the school today. We will do what we can to help you put it back together and get it going in the right direction just as quickly as we can. In the meanwhile, I hope you will keep your spirits up. This will pass, and it'll get better, and we'll do everything we can to help. God bless you. Thank you. What can we do?
Let me go down here and I'll come back this way.
Today, we can announce that we'll be able to provide over $26 million to the communities to help rebuild the community facilities, $10 million in emergency relief fund for federal highway damage, and $2 million to meet other emergency needs. But there will be more that has to be done, a lot more. We believe that Mr. Panetta, my chief of staff, and I were coming out here, we were just trying to assess what we know is the damage in Washington and Oregon and over in Idaho, and we think we'll we'll have to do a lot more.
This is the hand
and we're prepared to do it. And I basically want to spend the rest of this time that we have here listening to the citizens and the elected officials that are here, so that when we leave here, we've got a very good idea of where we are and what we need to do.
Oh, your turn. Hi. He's going to let us use his name. No, I got to see him. They're way over by that man.
Well, he's going to go do that.
Yeah. So they're over there.
Well, it's a lot different to watch this from outside of Woodland, and on the other hand, have experienced what it was like to go through this flood and then listen to the president speak. This is Gwen Davis. What did it, first tell us what happened to your house.
Just very quarter of a mile from where there's an extra.
You lost your furnace, though. What did you think about what the president had to say? About an 8 to the
What do you think of the president?
why you're skeptical?
Everything that he does, campaign.
Ready to go?
He just went to money.
Take care of carpet, take care of floors, take care of walls.
So whatever it costs to get Air Force One over here.
What do you think of this, sir?
Pulling the carpet is just everything.
Change your mind.
Trying to take it, she couldn't get around the
I couldn't get around all the crowd. Poor Brian, you can tell your kids that. Okay.
Here we are. How we doing, ladies? You get to see the president?
Got to shake his hand.
Got to shake his hand?
His head on my shoulder.
How do you feel about what he said?
Look at the motor.
Pretty good about it. It worked out pretty well. Some people say it's still has to make the scene.
Oh, thank you. No, it isn't. I think he's true with his word.
Stay here. Stay with
It was good that he came here to give folks a little moral boost.
Yes, really helps. Really helps.
What's your name, Adam?
Fredrickson.
Okay, yours?
Dorothy Goff.
Okay. Did you folks get flooded out?
Yes, we do. We live right on the street right there. 32.
How long you lived around here?
I lived here in Woodland all my life. I was born here. But I've lived in this house for 33 years.
Folks over here. Thanks very much, ladies. You hang in there. Do that. Okay, you know what I mean then. Okay. I'm gonna, if I can, I'd like to do a brief interview with you about what you think of the president.
It might be just, I think if nothing else, it would help raise the spirits of the people.
Okay, great. Good luck to you on your cleanup. Appreciate it. Okay, let's.
You got me to put
The crowd dissipating.
What do you think about the president coming? Does that make you feel a little bit better about the whole process of recovery? Yeah. So I look hang in there and doing strong. Hopefully I won't see you again under these circumstances. I hope so.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I want to taste it.
Yeah, they're letting go that way.
We probably could. Head right back to where.
Watch him all the time. I thought he was taller. He's not, isn't he Channel 2? What's his name? Isn't he a sportscaster? We're going to get on Channel 2. I'll start my binoculars or my car.
Today is, of course, the president's party. What did you make of what he said? Did it leave you with any kind of feeling?
Oops, I'm in the wrong spot.
Aside from politics, how did it make you feel as far as...
It made me feel that he was here politicking in any way at all. That kind of a person, I believe, They have to take some of the walls out and replace the plastic.
The area that the river broke across and started the flooding was right here at Sherman's Corner. This was at a very rapid rate, and the water came back in and inundated all of this area. This area now is almost completely developed in homes, and so there was a lot more devastation than what there would have been when this photo was taken.